So you can have your legs crossed if you're comfortable. And having your, sitting, exactly. So when we start like this, it actually allows the pelvis to kind of come into a more neutral position than if you're sitting on the ground directly. So a little bit of height kind of helps the pelvis kind of spill naturally forward versus our nature to kind of try to tuck like this and then round our back. So just kind of move around a little bit. Just kind of go like this. Just to kind of, curve your back a little bit. You roll out your hands, stretch them out. Just kind of find a nice sweet spot where you're not hyperextending your back, but you're also not rounding forward, that you feel kind of comfortable in a neutral position, where you're comfortable seated, sitting up, not trying to thrust your ribcage forward, but your shoulders are back and down, but comfortable. Your head is up so that it's in a natural alignment with your spine, but your head is not forward like this or like this. You just want to have it kind of back, but over, your ears over your shoulder, over your hips. And then I want you to take your hands again. You close your eyes. So we've got the aromatherapy going on too. Lavender and music. Look at this. So roll out your hands and close your eyes. Maybe a couple more circles with your wrists. And then maybe place your hands either on your lap or beside you. Then just kind of do a couple shoulder rolls at your own pace. Breathing naturally. Of course, I don't have to tell you to breathe, but just breathe naturally. And as you start, just rolling things out and kind of getting a little bit more loose and calming down, helping your nervous system calm down, maybe try to just take a couple more deeper breaths at your own pace as you're rolling your shoulders forward. We do one at a time. Is that any discomfort for you? No. Maybe one at a time. And place your hands behind you. You can keep your eyes closed if you want. And we're going to take an inhale. We're going to arms up. Inhale. Deep inhale with rib cage expanding. And then exhale down. Breathe it out through your mouth if you can, or to yourself. And again, inhale, arms up. Really, really expanding through the rib cage. You want to feel, you can breathe out on your own too. And then take a couple more deep breaths like that on your own pace. And when you're breathing, you want to try to see if you can expand your rib cage, or imagine it expanding not just forward, but out to the side and the back. And sometimes, if you want, we'll do it on the next one. Inhale, and then exhale. And we'll take one more together after we exhale. Place your hands around your rib cage so you know a little bit more of what I'm talking about. So place hands here, and we're going to do kind of keep your eyes closed. So we're going to do an imaginary inhale as if we're going to inhale. But you're going to, instead of raising your arms, we're going to place our hands here. And I want you to close your eyes. I want you to feel this really with your hands and your rib cage. I want you to take a deep inhale. And I want you to really expand the rib cage forward, out to the side, and out to the back. And then exhale. Do it again. Inhale. And then exhale. So what that does is we tend to breathe very shallow and like more forward and kind of faster. And one of the best things for our nervous system is to just calm down our breathing, essentially, like breathe deep. But a lot of times when we think that we're breathing deep, we're not breathing deep. So this actually really helps because you want to expand forward to the side and the back. And I know that when I first started doing this and learning, I was more breathing and I was expanding way forward and not really throughout with my whole thoracic cavity. So you really want, deep breath really is your whole thoracic cavity moving, and all those little muscles and the connective tissue and all the cells there need movement just like everywhere else. So that's how we move them through deep breathing, but also through different types of breath, whether it's running or doing body pump like we did today or everything. All those different types of breath help expand differently. So that's a really good one. That's a kind of a touch point that helps. So then put your hands down again to the side. What we're going to do is we're going to raise your right arm up above your head, and we're going to slightly reach over to the left Maybe using your left hand to kind of position you. And then go back down. And then we're gonna reach to the left arm, up, and then slightly gently reach to the right. And then exhale down. Let's do it one more time. Inhale, right arm up, to the side. Exhale down. Inhale, arms up, and over a little bit. And then exhale down. Now together, we're gonna inhale, we're gonna go arms up again, but this time we're gonna take our arms, we're gonna kind of rotate slightly to the left as we exhale. And then inhale, bring your arms back up. And exhale down. And inhale, arms up again. Now rotate to the right. Exhale. Inhale, arms up. And exhale down. All right, let's do one more time. Inhale, arms up all the way to the left. Exhale down. And inhale, arms up. And we're gonna go straight to the right side. Exhaling down and rotating to the right. And then let's do that a couple of times on your own, at your own pace. Just inhale, arms up. Come back to center, rotating to the left. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale to the right. One more time each way. Inhale. Exhale down. Last time to the right. Inhale. And exhale down. And then you can kind of just shake your shoulders, shake them out. All right, let's just roll out the neck a little bit. You can put your hands to the side if that helps you feel better. You can place them here. Just kind of roll your neck gently to the right. And then maybe make a U shape to the left. And then go back to the right. And then go slowly back to the left. And then start making your way back to the right. And then stop right in the middle and just kind of let your head hang. If this bothers you at all, just back off or don't do it. You don't want to do anything that really is uncomfortable at all. You just want it to feel like a slight stretch, letting your head hang, the back of your neck hang. We don't do this quite enough. Our necks are so tense and our shoulders are always up. So just letting the head hang. Maybe try to make sure that you can do a couple shoulder rolls to make sure your shoulders are relaxed and not kind of gripping up like this. And then maybe roll back to the right side. Then take your left hand and maybe kind of walk it out a little bit. Just intensify the stretch a little bit. If you want to, you can kind of gaze up gently. And then come back. And then roll back to the center slowly. Going to the left side. Head tilt to the left side. Maybe walk out your right hand. Look up a little bit. And then back down. And then slowly roll your head back. And then lift up. Do a couple more shoulder rolls. All right, so now we're gonna come into a child's pose. So you can take your blanket out or you can leave it, just kind of switch it, maneuver it so that it's just underneath your knees. I like to keep it underneath my knees, whether I'm in quadruped or on all fours, or even if I'm in child's pose. So I want you to come in child's pose. We're just gonna take a quick child's pose. And actually, we can even come in child's pose. Maybe go on hands, all fours, and then just take your toes and flex them. And then just kind of, now I know you have to be a little bit gentle here, but just put your toes here. And let's go back for a little bit of a foot stretch. And what you wanna make sure that you're doing is if you are able to sit all the way back, and I know before you even do it, just go slow. You wanna make sure that your ankles are not smeshing in or like smearing out to the side. You wanna keep your ankles kind of parallel with your hips and like straight up and down, right? So if this is too intense because of your feet or it hurts, you don't want it to hurt, you can take a bolster. You've got the bolster there, or a block even, and you can kind of sit it, maybe two. here. So you can still do it, but it's not as much weight on the back of your heels. Or you can keep your hands down too. And then come back forward. And then just go back down into a natural child's pose. So you can pick your toes, your big toes together. That's right, I haven't done yoga before. So big toes forward with your knees slightly wider than hip width. So your feet are together, and your hips are slightly wider than hip width. And you're gonna come back down. There you go, now stretch forward. You can rest the crown, the front of your head down. What you should be able to do is just kind of really breathe and relax. If it's not comfortable, you can also bolster in the same way that we just discussed, underneath your pelvis or in between your legs. Are you feeling any discomfort here? Okay. So then just reach back and just take a couple deep breaths to yourself. Maybe imagining that deep breath in your rib cage again, expanding, front, side, and back, but in this position, which I find actually really is awesome for like my thoracic spine, my back. For some reason, this really helps stretch the muscles along my thoracic spine when I'm able to do it in this pose. You can if you want, you can kind of just reach your hands, try to walk your fingers a little bit far forward to get your back a little bit more flat. And then maybe take your left hand and walk it over to your right arm and place it on top of your hand. So now, instead of being completely straight back, you're kind of in a modified like crescent, moon, slightly similar. So what you're gonna do is your left hand's on your right, and now just stretch back again. You kind of have a little bit more of a stretch on the outside of your arm. And then walk your left hand back to the center. And do the same on the other side. So we're gonna walk our right hand on top of our left. We got kind of more of this modified stretch, more of a crescent stretch. Modified crescent stretch. And now you've got more of a stretch on the outside of the arm. And walk your right arm back to the center. And take one more deep breath to yourself, straight forward with your hands forward. And then slowly make your way up to quadruped. All fours, whatever you want to call it. So when you're in this, we're gonna start making our way to doing some more shoulder stuff, but we're gonna go through what we did earlier. So I'm just going to remind you, like in your hands, you want to make sure that your wrists are wrist, elbow, shoulder, right? All right. And maybe kind of do a couple tucks of your pelvis, kind of loosen things up. Because what you want also is once you get your kind of shoulders or your hands underneath your shoulders, we'll go through the alignment points of your elbows in a minute. So you just kind of want to loosen up your back. I find that I am constantly tucking like this, and I don't even realize it. But you really want to just release the stomach like down, which helps release the pelvis forward, and then it almost makes you feel like you're sticking your butt back and up, and like you've got this big deep V here. But that's what you want. You want to really relax the pelvis, and you want to relax the stomach, and so it kind of takes a little bit to kind of play with it, to kind of find it. And then once you've done that and you've got your hands down, I want you just to hang your head. And maybe if you want, you can kind of bring your own movement to this position, maybe going a little bit forward on your hands or back. Not all the way into child's pose, but just keeping your head hanging. Try to make sure that your pelvis is not, and your back are still in the same position where you're not like hiking up because you're going back, but that you're still relaxed here. Your stomach's down, your head's down. You're just kind of moving around and playing with this position. Maybe a little bit forward and back, gently. This is also a really great squat prep, but we're not going to go over that. It helps teach you how to squat properly. All right, so we're just kind of warming up the shoulders and the wrists a little bit. And then let's go back to that quadruped and just hang again, just staying neutral and still. And we take a deep breath again, expanding all over the rib cage. I want you to sit back a little bit, and we're going to take our hands. Now we already had them down and we did the alignment, but remember we talked earlier about the L shape, and I know this is hard because I've been working on it for a while. You want to imagine an L shape from your middle finger to your thumb, and I know my thumb's always so super tight. So if you can, squat back a little bit. If you're uncomfortable, you can bolster yourself or you can go down. You want to make sure you're not like sagging in your heels. So then let's take our hands, do a little open and close again. Get them warmed up to do some shoulder stuff, because if they're tight here, then it's going to be tight all the way up here, and it affects your shoulder, right? So let's help them. Let's go back to this thumb stretch that we did. So you're going to take your thumb with your joystick and just kind of, you want to make sure you're not pulling back just the top. You want to make sure that your hand is really around it like a joystick, and just kind of slightly back. Do you feel that a little bit? Is it uncomfortable? All right, let's do the other side. Now, if you have hypermobile thumbs that dislocate like mine, you have to be like really careful. But if I do it right, it feels so good. It literally stretches like just this part that gets so tight. All right, let's take the hands like this again, open and close them. Let's start here, and let's just try to do like a slight finger stretch. Now you don't want to go until you go. You're just going to want to do lightly. Just go through each finger, keeping your forearm in line with your wrist. We go through each one. Now this is where mine hyperextend. It's really hard. So sometimes you just have to learn to back off. Maybe try it again where you've got your wrist not in line with your palm. So there's a little bit more of a stretch here. Just try it again and see how the sensation is different. There's more stretch there along the connective tissue from the wrist to the hand. Can't stop this one from like. All right, so wiggle out. Now take your hands. Maybe switch your position if you want. Switch mine. Maybe come up if you want. Maybe move around. Make sure you wiggle around your ankles. You don't want to ever sit in one position for too long, even though we just did for like hours working. All right, so hands like this, and this might be really hard. Okay, so you want to keep your hands, see how they're kind of up at my chest, and my wrist is here. I'm not like super down, but I'm like kind of up. I'm trying to touch my thumbs. If you can't do it, you can't do it. It's okay. But when you can, you want to kind of come down a little bit. It's a really good stretch for the back. Go up. And go down. And then just shake it out. All right, come back onto quadruped. All right, so let's do some shoulder work. So hands in position, roll them out if you want to. If you need to bolster your wrists, you can bolster your wrists. Let me show you how you bolster your wrists actually. So take this. So you can do it down here. So what that does is it makes it so it's not so much a 90-degree angle and your fingers aren't so spread, but you can still work on your finger spread, right? And you can still work on that L shape, but it's just not as strong of an angle. All right, so making sure that everything's in a line, that your hands are, you're not out like this, it's underneath your shoulders, maybe a little bit more like hip width, because shoulder width is sometimes more narrow than your hips. So you want to be more like hip width. L shape as much as you can. And I just want you to rock back and forth. Just like we did, but maybe taking a little bit more movement, maybe going back, child's pose, your own pace, or maybe going forward to the dog if you wanted to. Just kind of moving around the shoulders, the wrists, but only to your comfort. If it's not comfortable, don't do it. Just kind of trying to move around. You can kind of maybe do circles a little bit. Again, it might not be super comfortable because your wrists, everything aren't used to supporting you that way. How's it feeling? Yeah? Maybe come back into child's pose again. Taking a deep breath. Then coming back up. All fours again. So let's do that whole head hang thing, making sure your belly's down, you're hanging. And I just want you to try to isolate the scapula and do the rhomboid push up. So it's not a movement in the back. It's a movement isolating the shoulders by themselves, but not with the pelvis or the back. I gotta be honest, I love this, but it's also really hard. I find that I'm always bringing my back and my pelvis into it. So you want to keep your head hung. Try to watch any tension there. Yeah, you're doing a great job. And the idea is to really isolate the scapula. I love this. It's the area that always gets like the knots. This also helps with your shoulder mobility. And remember that tightness that we were talking about that you said causes pain and weakness? You can't gain shoulder strength if the shoulder can't move appropriately. So sometimes you have to work on the movement. So just do it a couple more times. How does it feel? Are you keeping your, you also don't want your like elbows going out like this. If you're finding that, you want to make sure that your elbows are externally rotated so that your elbow pits are kind of forward, but you don't want to be hyperextended. Good job. Couple more times. And then when you're ready, just come back into another child's pose. And to give your shoulders a break, and come back up. We're gonna do kind of a modified sun salutation and then do some feet stuff and then come back down and do another shoulder work and then come back down to the ground. Does that sound good? Okay. So whenever you're comfortable, you can kind of just either walk or step forward. Give yourself time, go slow. Maybe pick up your toes, roll around your ankles a little bit. And if your hands are on the floor and your feet are bent, you can use a bolster if you need to. And I just want you to slowly come up with a flat back, rounded back, maybe with knees bent, but just go slowly, especially if you get dizzy like I do. Roll your shoulders around. All right, let's do a modified sun salutation. All right, so feet hip bone width apart. I like putting my hips like here. Making sure your legs are straight, kneecaps are relaxed. Can you do this? Can you raise and lower your kneecaps? Relax your quads and raise and lower your kneecaps. Do that a couple times. Maybe try to raise your toes. Do a couple toe stretches. We try to do one at a time. So try the big toe, then your next toe, another one, and make like a fan. Your weight's back in your heels. Your rib cage is down. Couple more times. Maybe roll around the ankles if you need to hold on to something. Roll around the ankles. Hold on to that strap. We're going to do top of the foot stretch, top of the foot stretch. So hold on to that. You want to make sure that you have a good balance, because this can be intense and uncomfortable if you don't have balance. So you want to make sure that you're balanced on your one foot. You're going to take the other foot and we're going to place it back. So see how it's kind of just resting on the top of my foot. And if it's at all uncomfortable, you can do it seated. Is it uncomfortable? Okay, bring it down. Was it uncomfortable, like super painful, or uncomfortable, like injury painful? Could you do it if you were sitting? What about with the other foot? Do you have good balance? Because you don't want to, the idea is not for you to rest. Okay, so yeah, you don't want to be placing like your weight back on it. It's just a very light stretch, but it can help if you do it so that you can take that foot that was uncomfortable. You just want to see. So you're sitting on that, you're balancing, and you're taking that foot, and it's more gentle. How's that? Is that better? So again, the idea is not to have like the weight, but you can do all these things that we've been doing underneath the foot, but the top of the foot a lot of times is really tight from like flip-flops or shoes. It needs love too. Maybe try the other one. More time. Okay, you can come back center and then move that thing out of the way. Stand up, center of your mat. Hip bone width apart. Relax your kneecaps, relax your quads. We're gonna inhale, arms up. And we're gonna exhale, we're gonna fall forward, but you wanna make sure that you maintain a straight leg and that you're pushing your weight back. And we're not gonna go all the way down. We're gonna stop right here. This is gonna be our halfway, because we're gonna use and engage our glutes, right? Then we're gonna inhale. This is our halfway. And then exhale back down to the kneecaps. And then inhale, arms up. And arms to heart center. You wanna try a Vinyasa, the Chaturanga, going down to the floor one time. Okay, arms to the side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward to the knees. Inhale, arms halfway up. Then exhale, I want you to place your hands down, however you get there, bending your knees. I want you just to step back into a plank. You can put your knees down if you want to. And then we're just gonna do a slow chaturanga at your own pace. Slowly down, inhale. Exhale back down, making sure your elbows are to your sides. Inhale, up, and then push back to downward dog. And then just stay here. How does this feel for you? Is this really hard for you? So maybe what you want to try to do is, you can't bring your feet forward a little bit further. Yeah. Go back down, back to the other way. There you go. All right, push up one more time. Let's try it. We're gonna work on calf stretching. All right, so if you can, whatever your modification is, breathe, step forward. Feet hip bone width apart. Slowly make your way. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to heart center. All right, so let's do some feet and calf work, and then we'll go back down to the floor. And then we'll do a restorative yoga ending. Okay, so take your calf stretching, the half dome, place it. So I know we've done this a lot, but I know you already do this. So you want to stay on whatever side that you're on is going to be your foot that goes on to, yeah. So you want to start with your standing leg back, right? and your, like kind of the palm of your foot is on there. And you want to make sure that you are, again, comfortable. How do you feel? You want to make sure that you're not hyperextending, that there's no like gripping of your quads, or just try to stretch. And if you can kind of slowly try to see if you can get your foot up a little bit more parallel, a little bit closer. How's that feel? Too much? And maybe if you can, only if you can, try to move it a little bit forward. It intensifies the stretch, and it's more dorsiflexion of the foot, which you're supposed to be able to do, but it can be really uncomfortable. So sometimes it takes people a long time to do this. Just hold it, and maybe bend your knee to a Soleus stretch. How's that feel? And then come back. Let's do the other side. Take the other side. Foot up. And this might feel totally different than the other one. So foot up, standing foot back, palm of the foot. I call it the palm of the foot. I don't know what it is. There. Kneecap relaxed, quad relaxed. And maybe try to bring it up a little bit more forward, parallel to the foot. That's stretching. And just hold it there. And if you can, you go a little bit more forward, but only if you can, and only if it's comfortable. I always try to raise my toes. And then come back, shake it out. All right, come back to the center. We already did some toe raises. We're gonna do a little toe stretch, the foot stretch, rolling on the ball. I know that we did this before, but which one did you're comfortable with? I'm going to use the Yoga Tune-Up. I try to use different ones and different textures. So I have Yoga Tune-Up and I've got these other ones, but you can do whatever you want. So take whatever one you're going to use and just roll the bottom of your foot around on the ball. So maybe like your right one first. How's that feel? Is that the foot that hurts? And it feels okay? Huh, really? Feels better than the last time? Really? Look at you! Yay! And then maybe switch the foot. I'll tell you what, this is like, I don't know how people don't do this all the time. You don't realize how tight your foot gets. Holy mackerel. And if you want to, you can try another one. I'm gonna try another one. I like using the spiky ball a little bit, just to give a little bit of different texture and imprint to the bottom of the muscles of the feet. But don't force it. You might not be ready for that just yet. You could try the little black foot waker if you wanted to and see how that feels today. That's where you don't roll on it, you just press down on it. I love that one for like right by my toes. You don't always want to go fast either. Sometimes I try to do too fast. There's 33 joints in every single foot. So next time. And 3 joints in every ankle too. So there's a lot of movement and mobility that you want to maintain in all of those joints to be able to hold our body and function well. A lot of times we wear all these shoes and things like that that actually kind of stop the mobility, and that causes so many problems. So if you want, I know this was intense, just pressing this in the foot waker. I love this one. This is also a good one to do some kind of toe stretching. It's different than the way that we did it. It's probably why reflexology was developed. And I like the spiky one. Press my heel on it. Oh. The heel's not as sensitive, but it just feels so good. This is more intense. You don't want to force it. Like sometimes like putting a lot of pressure on our like tissues and muscles can feel really good, but that's not always the best thing. All right, so move it out of the way. Then one thing we're gonna do after we just did that, I want you to take those rocks. This is a really good foot mobility exercise. I don't think I've ever taught this, but I have these rocks. So now that we've like loosened up our feet, I want you to practice picking up the rock. Maybe try balancing on one foot, placing it somewhere. Let me try different ones. So it's twofold. It's a foot toe thing and also balancing on the other one. This is really good for kids. I should be making my kids do this, especially Johan with his deformed feet from wearing, like, did I tell you that? Johan wore, it's kind of scary. And now he's so used to these like smushed toes that he doesn't really know how to like deal with. He needs to do this thing. All right, roll that out. We're gonna make our way down again to the ground, but we're gonna do it through a Sun Salutation. So come to the center, mat again, one last time. Feet, keep going with the heart, maybe stretch out. Feet, arms to the side, maybe close your eyes. Make sure your ribcage is down. Your weight is over your ankles. You're gonna inhale, arms up. Exhale, fall forward to the knees. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale down, bending your knees if you need to, placing your hands on the ground, stepping back. Maybe putting your knees down if you need to. Slowly go down. Chaturanga, slowly upward dog if you want to. Then exhale back down. And then push back into a downward dog or a child's pose. And then just breathe. And then slowly make your way back up into quadruped or all fours. You put the blanket underneath your knees, kind of like we do it. We're gonna do just a couple shoulder mobility exercises here and then seated. And then we're gonna make our way to our back. We're gonna do a hamstring stretch and then do a restorative yoga. All right, so on here, I want you to, if this is uncomfortable, you can't balance, just let me know. But let me show you first. So I want you to get yourself positioned like we talked about before. We're going to slowly raise our wrist up like this. So your palm is facing like in. And then you're gonna reach back and you're gonna articulate your shoulder around. So then it's out. So the palm is out this way. And then you're gonna slowly bring the razor back up. Slowly make it around. Again, palm facing forward and down. All right, so it's twofold. One, it's a good shoulder mobility, but it's also balance. So if it's uncomfortable, we'll just do a couple on each side, but if it's uncomfortable, we can modify and find another way for you to do the same thing, okay? So pick whatever hand you want to do first. Head down, hanging. Remember, you don't want any tension here. Raise your arm up at the shoulder, just to shoulder height. You don't want to go like far. Your palm's in. You're going to slowly bring your arm around, articulate it around so that the palm is facing back out by your hip. And then slowly lift it up. And then bring it back. How's that feel? Maybe do a couple of shoulder raises, rhomboid push-ups. I find that the one that I'm holding my weight on gets really tired. All right, let's try the other side. So let's do 2 on each side. So we'll try the other side and then we'll do 1 more on each side and then go down. So your hand, reach your other arm, opposite. For me, it's my left arm up. Articulate it all the way around. So the palm is now facing out by my hip. And then bring it up. And slowly rotate it around. And then back down. If you want to, you can do 2 in a row. Sometimes it's better to alternate. The idea is to go slow. You don't want to rush it. I have 1 more. So I'm going to do 1 more on the side. I'm up. Take it around. And up. Bring it down. And then maybe do a couple of rhomboid push-ups or a child's pose. And then come seated on your butt. Again, on your we're gonna raise our arms up again, 1 more time. Like inhale. And then I want you to exhale, but I want you to come down like a T. Just right here. So it's like a 90-degree angle. And I want you to just try to hold your shoulders back a little bit. Maybe a little bit more up in a 90-degree. Make sure there's no tension here. It's like you're holding something back with your shoulder blades. Making sure they're 90 degrees. And maybe rotate. And then go back up. Hold it. Maybe bring it in. It's like we were doing today. This is really what you do. Right, back out. Hold it. Maybe bring it up. Bring it back down. Hold it. Rotate. Maybe try to go down. Bring it back up. All the way. In. Back out. Reach it up. And then exhale down. Just roll your shoulders up. That one, when I do it again, you can do it against the wall. And it's actually more of a physical therapy exercise. It's like really tough. All right, so rotate your neck. And I just want you to slowly make your way onto your back. Make sure you have your yoga strap and your bolster, the bigger bolster, your yoga strap, and a yoga block near you. And then, of course, the little lavender thing. Okay, so I sometimes still like to put, I sometimes still like to lay on something. I mean, sometimes you need to bolster if you're uncomfortable laying flat. Sometimes you need to bolster your back for hyperkyphosis, but are you okay with laying flat? Okay, so just make your way back down. Making sure that this is, here we go. And just, well, shake out your ears, shake out your, yeah, whatever they are, ankles. So maybe bring in both knees and just kind of roll back and forth, kind of loosen up the lower back. And then maybe keep your right knee in and let your left foot stretch out. Maybe roll around your hip. And actually take your opposite hand, keep one hand on your right leg, on your shin, and put your left hand actually on your pelvic bone. And what I want you to notice is when you're doing that, when you're holding your knee in, do you feel that you are tilting, or kind of your pelvis is tilting up, or kind of is working in some way when you are rolling your hip around? Are you pulling from another area of your body to be able to do this? Because you don't want to do that. You don't want to pull from one area to be able to do something. You want to keep your hips square. So maybe just keeping your hand on your left hip bone, kind of as a reminder to keep your hips square, as a reminder. Sometimes I have discomfort in my pelvic joint if I bring it in sometimes, and I know that I'm pretty tight in my psoas bone. But that's a good way. You want to make sure that your hip is pelvis. Your pelvis is square and it's not pulling, or you're not arching your back to do it. So then switch. Try the other side and see if that's any different. Bring your knee in and roll around your hip. Are you pulling from anywhere else? Is it uncomfortable anywhere? Put your right hand on your hip bone. Make sure your hips are square, and then roll it around again. And then put both legs down. And shake them out. Take the shoulder strap, the other strap. And you're going to take your strap and you're going to put it around the top part of your foot. Okay, and then stretch up. And here's the thing. You don't want to be pulling on your neck. You want your neck down, and you want your shoulders down. Okay, and you want your arms to be relaxed too. The idea is to not pull as far as you can for your leg to go as far as you can. The idea is just to be comfortable and to help your leg just stay straight and to stretch here. Sometimes that's here. What you can do is I want you just to kind of move around your ankles. Kind of like you're flexing your foot, and you can do it here. How's your leg? Are you able to keep it straight? Flex, point your foot, roll your ankle. And just hold it there. And if you can take both straps. What leg are you on? Okay, you're on the right. Take both straps in your left hand, making sure that your shoulders are still pressed down. Your neck is still relaxed. Extend your right arm comfortably. But your straps are in your left hand. And your leg is down, but it's straight, right? Pelvis is square. We're not jacking up anywhere. We're trying not to. And I want you to slowly just take your foot and cross it over the midline of your body. Do you feel anything? And then go back. And then down. Let's do the other side. On the left foot. Shoulders are comfortable, neck is comfortable, shoulders are on the floor. Your hands are comfortable. You got straps in your leg is straight. You want to keep it, you only want to go up as far as it can to keep the leg straight. The idea is the leg is straight, not to stretch as far as you can with the leg bent. okay? So if you need to go all the way almost down to the floor to keep it straight, that's what you want to do, okay? So you're stretching lightly. You don't want to feel it too much. Again, you want your quad and your kneecap to be relaxed. Roll around your foot. Flex it to the side, and then to the wall, and then towards you. And take your straps, put them in your right hand, extend your left arm, flat, and then cross the right side of the body gently. You make sure, keep your knees still strapped, and make sure your foot. All right, then shake out your legs. All right, before we go to the last final, so I want you just to do like a big, deep good morning stretch, arms above. Deep breath, reaching your feet and your hands as far as you can. And maybe taking your left hand into your right hand and grasping, kind of making another type of crescent, just this way instead of forward. And making another stretch. You can even move your feet to the right, and then your hands are a little bit to the right, so you're kind of making a C. You still want your shoulders to be down and your neck to be relaxed. Take it back to a couple of deep breaths. And then go back to the center. And do the same on the other side. Take your right hand, grasp it with your left arm, slightly bend to the left side, and you can move your feet, crossing your right leg over your left ankle, your right ankle over your left ankle. Kind of making another modified C this way. And then breathing. Take a couple of those deep breaths where you really try to expand your rib cage forward, side, and back. And then come back to the center. And shake things out. And then just come up real quick. And take your bolster. Mine's kind of funky. And take your bolster. I'm gonna make your block like a T shape. Like this. And you can actually put your blanket down if you want. Again, it helps your hips. So you can kind of put it down. It's going to be like resting, right, like this. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, maybe put your block a little bit further back on the bolster. Yeah, scoot your, there you go. Okay, so sit on your right side. You're going to have your right hip against the bolster. And I want you just to, so you're facing like this, but I want you to kind of twist so that you're more forward. Your rib cage is over the bolster. And there's nobody drooling on it. And then just rest your head however you're comfortable with your arms relaxed to the side. Wiggle your hands a little bit. So we're going to go to the other side before we fall asleep. Wiggle your hands and then slowly push yourself up and just flip around to the other side. So make sure your blanket is to the edge of your bolster. Here, do the same thing, left hip, slightly turn, chest over your bolster, head to the left, arms relaxed. And slowly wiggle your hands again. And then slowly make your way back up. And then just move everything out of the way. And then just lay completely supine, flat in Shavasana, letting your ankles and feet naturally drift out to the side. You want your hands, palms facing up. You can take a stretch if you want to, palms facing up, down by your side. So take your hands and bring them forward, and then place them down by your side with your palms facing up. You want your thumb to be facing out, and why that's important is because there's a ligament in your shoulder that impinges your rotation of your shoulder when it's down like this. You want to make sure you're open so that you can relax your shoulders through, and then just relax. Are they comfortable? They are. I haven't used them. I've been waiting to have a class with like more than my daughter. And slowly bring movement back to your fingers. You can take the thing off your eyes if you want to. And then just slowly make your way to seated on your blanket if you want to. Through your side, you can lie on your side if you want to. Leave frost or out. And take an inhale, arms up. And exhale, hands down center. Thank you.